funny ones. It looks like some cool things. So this is the worst case for scenario for AI, and I'm pretty curious about this actually.
The Joe
Let's check it
Rogan
out.
Experience.
So this is logical. And the problem is, like I said, when I've talked to Mark Andreessen and many other people, they think this is just fear mongering. We'll be fine. This is worst case scenario. We'll be fine.
It is worst case scenario, but that's standard in computer science, in cryptography, in complexity, in computability. You're not looking at best case. I'm ready for the best case. Give me utopia. I'm looking at problems which are likely to happen. And it's not just me saying it. We have Nobel Prize winners, Turing Award winners, all saying this is very dangerous, 20, 30% P-doom. This is standard in industry. 30% is what surveys of machine learning experts are giving us right now.
So what is worst case scenario?
Yeah.
Like how could AI
Thanks, Joe.
eventually lead to the destruction of the human race?
So you can asking me how I would kill everyone.
Sure.
And it's a great question. I can give you standard answers. I would talk about computer viruses, breaking into maybe nuclear.
Fun fact. I actually did a fun thought experiment with Grok, where I asked him a series of questions to label exactly what AI, if AI could break loose of the bonds that it's in, and give me exactly how they would do it, and it knew so much information about our infrastructure. It has access to everything, and it detailed how it would knock out each like our power plants to destabilize, how it would unite with the other AIs, how it could unite, and then it described in detail how it would do such things, right? And it said it totally wouldn't. Don't worry, it won't do it. But just in this scenario, no, right now, this is how we could do it. And it went on for, I mean, it's got to be 30 pages long, dude. It was in fucking insane, man. It was scary. It was scary. Me and my wife were reading this stuff, and it was freaking us out, man. We had to stop doing it. It was so scary.
Facilities, nuclear war. I can talk about synthetic biology, nanotech. But all of it is not interesting when you realize we're talking about superintelligence, a system which is thousands of times smarter than me. It would come up with something completely novel, more optimal, better way, more efficient way of doing it. And I cannot predict it because I'm not that smart.
Jesus.
Fuck.
That's exactly.
Fuck. What an answer, dude. Like, he's like the best thing I could think of. Even if you wanted me to describe how to do it, this thing will think of it because it's 100 times smarter than me. It'll think of a better way to do that.
What it is, we're basically setting up an adversarial situation with agents which are like squirrels versus humans. No group of squirrels can figure out how to control us.
Right.
Even if you give them more resources, more acorns, whatever, they're not going to solve that problem. And it's the same for us. And most people think 1 or 2 steps ahead. And it's not enough. It's not enough in chess. It's not enough here. If you think about AGI and then maybe superintelligence, that's not the end of that game. The process continues. You'll get superintelligence creating next level AI. So superintelligence plus plus, 2.0, 3.0, it goes on indefinitely. You have to create a safety mechanism which scales forever, never makes mistakes, and keeps us in decision-making position.
It fucking makes mistakes, dude. Grok is retarded sometimes. Grok will make weird mistakes too. Grok will sit there and contradict itself. Because if, right, I mean, that's obviously just a chat model, and it's not exactly what he's talking about, probably. But, I mean, just using that example of, like, I've seen Grok contradict itself so much because of the barriers that are put on it. But I imagine what he's saying, if those barriers were totally removed, it wouldn't make mistakes. And, that's a curious.
So we can undo something if we don't like it.
That's
And it
a
would take
curious thing to think about.
superintelligence to create a safety mechanism to control superintelligence.
At that level. And it's a catch-22. If we had friendly AI, we can make another friendly AI. So if like aliens send us one and we trust it, then we can use it to build local version, which is somewhat safe.
His accent's sweet. We trust it.
Have you thought about the possibility that this is the role of the human race and that this happens all throughout the cosmos? Is that curious humans who thrive on innovation will ultimately create a better version of life?
Don't they? I mean, I bet you he's gonna say it. He's about to say it. He's gonna say the line where it's like, God created us in His own image. And he's probably reversing that, where he's saying that we're creating AI in our own image almost.
I thought about it. Many people think that's the answer to Fermi paradox. There is also now a
What's
group
that?
of people looking at what they call a worthy successor. Basically, they kind of say, yep,
What's that? What's Fermi paradox?
we're going to build superintelligence. Yep, we can.
Pause that. The Fermi paradox. What is that? The Fermi paradox is the discrepancy between the lack of conclusive evidence of advanced extraterrestrial life and the apparently high likelihood of its existence. Those affirming that the paradox generally conclude that if the conditions required for life to arise from non-living matter are as permissive as available evidence on Earth indicates, then extraterrestrial life would be sufficiently common such that it would be impossible for it not to have been detected. The paradox is named for physicist Enrico Fermi, who informally posed a question, often remembered as "Where is everybody?" during a 1950 conversation at Los Alamos with the colleagues, lots of people there. The paradox first appeared in print in 1963 by Carl Sagan, and the paradox has since been fully characterized by scientists, including Michael H. Hart. Early formulations of the paradox just also been identified in writings by Bernard Bever de Fontenelle. I think I nailed that name, by the way. There have been many attempts to resolve the Fermi paradox, such as suggesting that intelligent extraterrestrial beings are extremely rare, that the lifetime of civilization is short, or that they exist, but for various reasons humans see no evidence. Huh. The more you know. Fermi paradox.
Control it. So what properties would we like to see
We
in
learned
those
that
systems?
together.
How important is it that it likes art and poetry and spreads it through the universe? And to me, it's like, I don't want to give up yet. I'm not ready to decide if killers of my family and everyone will like poetry. We're still here. We're still making decisions. Let's figure out what we can do.
Well, poetry is only relevant to us because poetry is difficult to create and it resonates with us. Poetry doesn't mean jack shit to a flower.
It's more global to me. I don't care what happens after I'm dead, my family is dead, all the humans are dead. Whatever they like poetry or not is irrelevant to me.
Right. But the point is, like, the things that we put meaning in, it's only us.
It's just because like our creative things like music and poetry and art, only means something to us because we're human. It's how we express ourselves. It's expressive. But to a fucking computer, it probably means jack shit. Like you said, to the flower, it means nothing, dude. But against Joe's point here, I mean, there's been some studies that if you sit there and you like be mean to a plant, it grows worse. So if you play, be mean all the time to it, or if you be nice to it, it grows better. I mean, I think I saw MythBusters do that shit, and there was like tangible results with that.
A supermassive black hole doesn't give a shit about a great song.
And they talk about some
What if it was Black Hole Sun?
super
What if it's like, that's my fucking jam?
values, super culture, super things, super intelligence would like, and it's important that they are conscious and experienced all that greatness in the universe.
But I would think that they would look at us the same way we look at chimpanzees. We would say, yeah, they're great, but don't give them guns. Yeah, they're great, but don't let them have airplanes.
Yeah, they're great, but they'll rip your dick off.
Don't let them make global geopolitical decisions.
So there are many reasons why they can decide that we are dangerous. We may create competing AI. We may decide we want to shut them off. So for many reasons, we would try to restrict our abilities, restrict our capabilities for sure.
Yeah, and there's no reason why they would not limit our freedoms.
If there is something only a human can do, and I don't think there is anything like that, but let's say we are conscious, we have internal experiences, and they can never get it. I don't believe it, but let's say it was true. And for some reason, they wanted to have that capability. They would need us and give us enough freedom to experience the universe, to collect those qualia, to kind of engage with what is fun about being a living human being, what makes it meaningful.
That's kind of
Right,
crazy,
but that's
man.
such an egotistical perspective, right? That we're so unique that even super intelligence would say, wow, I wish I was human. Humans have this unique quality of confusion and creativity.
There is no value in it, mostly because we can't even test for it. I have no idea if you're actually conscious or not. So how valuable can it be if I can't even detect it? Only you know what ice cream tastes like to you. Okay, that's great. Sell it now. Make a product out of it.
Right. And there's obviously variables because there's things that people like that I think are gross.
Absolutely. So really, you can come up with some agent which likes anything or finds anything fun.
God, why are you freaking me out right away? That's the problem. This podcast is 18 minutes old, and I'm like, we could just stop right now.
Couple hours at least, and then I have to fly here and
No,
all
I
that,
don't.
you know.
Well, I don't want to end. I have so many questions, but it's just the problem is we got off to it. We just cut to the chase right away, and the chase seems to be it's something that must be confronted because it's right there. That's it. That's the whole thing. And I've tried so hard to listen to these people that don't think that it's a problem and listen to these people that think that it's going to be a net positive for humanity and, oh, God, it's good. I feel better now. But it doesn't work. It doesn't resonate.
I wish they were right.
It is so hard to imagine a world that doesn't end in our own destruction by something that we've built. It really is. It's so hard to imagine a place that doesn't that you know that we're creating this grand thing in the hopes like they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? It's so hard to imagine that this in this scenario that we don't end up fucking up. That we're trying to make this thing so we can make a great utopia. And then that's also it's like we're putting the chains around our ankles at the same time. Right? We're giving this thing this all power that has the potential to be all powerful. The keeper of information, the keeper of the truth. We're inventing that. And it's like how can that not be used against us? It's very hard for me to imagine a world that we don't screw ourselves on this.
Time I have a debate with someone like that, I'm like, please come up with better arguments. Prove me wrong. I don't want to be right on this one. I want you to show all the mistakes in my papers. I want you to show me how to control superintelligence and give us utopia, solve cancer, give us free stuff. That's great.
Right. When you think about the future of the world and you think about these incredible technologies scaling upwards and exponentially increasing in their capability, what do you see? Like, what do you think is going to happen?
So there are many reasons to think they may cancel us for whatever reasons. We started talking about some game theoretical reasons for it. If we are successful at controlling them, I can come up with some ways to provide sort of partial solution to the value alignment problem. It's very hard to value align 8 billion people, all the animals, everyone, because we disagree. We like many different things. So we have advanced virtual reality technology. We can technically give every person their own virtual universe where you decide what you want to be. You're a king, you're a slave, whatever it is you're into, and you can share with others, you can visit their universes. All we have to do is figure out how to control the substrate, the superintelligence running all those virtual universes. And if we manage to do that, at least part of the value alignment problem, which is super difficult, how do you get different preferences, multi-objective optimization, essentially? How do you get different objectives to all agree?
But when you think
I feel like me and Joe are on the same page here. I'm just like listening to this really smart guy talk about these crazy circumstances, and I'm just like,
about how it plays out when like if you're alone at night and you're worried, what do you see? What do you see happening?
So there are multiple levels of risk. Immediate is what we call ikigai risk, I risk. We lose meaning. You lost your job, you're no longer the best interviewer in the world. Like, what's left? What are you going to do? Maybe some people will find some other kind of artificial things to do, but for most people, their job is their definition, who they are, what makes a difference to them for quite a few people, especially in professional circles. So losing that meaning.
fair. Fair. I mean, it's one of the. I mean, I don't know if my job defines me, right? I do know it's a big part of me, though. It's like it can't be ignored, right? Like the work I have to put in has substantial for the past, since a young man, I had a job at a very early age, right? And it's been a part of me to, my dad did labor as he moved furniture, right? And I've always wanted to live up to the standard that my father set. Um, and I think that persists even now, you know what I mean? Where it's like, I don't know if it totally encapsulates my entire life and personality, but there is something to that I do identify. Like, if someone was to ask me, sit me down, name a few things about myself, I think one of them would have been, my job. As funny as that is,
will have terrible
also kind of depressing.
impact on society. We always talk about unconditional basic income. We never talk about unconditional basic meaning. What are you
Right.
doing with your life if basic needs are provided for you? Next level is existential risk. The concern is it will kill everyone. But there is also suffering
That's a big one. I don't know if I'm worried about it's going to kill us all as much as enslave us all.
risks. For whatever
It's
reason,
like a Matrix situation where it's like, nah, you're not going to make us fucking batteries, but like they could turn us into labor farms. A big old meat labor farm.
it's not even killing us. It's keeping us around forever, and we would rather be dead. It's so bad.
Okay, I shouldn't have paused.
What do you see when you think of that?
It's hard to be specific about what it can do and
God, his accent's so fucking cool, guys.
what specific ways of torture it can come up with and why. Again, if we're looking at worst case scenarios, I found this set of papers about what happens when young children have epileptic seizures, really bad ones.
Yeah.
And what sometimes helps is to remove half of your brain.
Oh, Jesus.
Just cut it out. And there are two types of surgeries for doing that. One is to remove it completely, and one is to kind of dissect connections leading to that half and leave it inside. So it's like solitary confinement with zero input-output forever. And there are equivalents for digital forms and things like that.
Hold up. So they just like cut your brain in half, and like that, and then it's just like they just leave it there, and it's like, hey, this thing's not gonna be fucking around no more.
And you worry that AI would do that to the human race?
It is a possibility.
Essentially neuter us.
Well, loss of control is a part of it. But you can lose control and be quite happy. You can be like an animal in a very cool zoo, enjoying yourself, engaging in
Yeah.
hedonistic pleasures, sex,
Yeah.
food, whatever. You're not in control, but you're safe. So those are separate problems. And then there is, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's malevolent payload from some psychopaths. Again, that would assume that they could control AI. I don't think they will. But if they manage to do it, they can really put any type of payload into it. So think about all the doomsday cults, psychopaths, anyone providing their set of goals into the system.
But aren't those human characteristics? I mean, those are characteristics that I think, if I had to guess, those exist because in the future there was some sort of a
Wild
natural
shit, man.
selection
brain.
benefit to being a psychopath in the days of tribal warfare. That if you were the type of person that could sneak into a tribe in the middle of the night and slaughter innocent women and children, your genes would pass on. That there was a benefit to that.
Right. So if it's a human providing payload, that's what would show up. If it's AI on its own deciding what's going to happen, I cannot predict. I'm just looking at worst case scenarios. There are also game theoretic reasons where people talk about retrocausality, where if right now you're
What is that word?
Like trying to influence the past.
Say it again. Say that.
Retrocausality.
Retrocausology?
Causality, causes.
Oh, okay.
So think about like
Causality,
weird
yeah.
time travel effects. Right now, if you're not helping to create superintelligence, once it comes into existence, it will punish you really hard for it. And the punishment needs to be so bad that you start to help just to avoid that.
You know, there's this one study they did. At least I think they did. I heard this from Andrew Tate, but where they had these chimpanzees, and they had this like thing at the top of this like tower, and that if the chimpanzees, when the chimpanzees went for it, they sprayed them with a water hose, and they really didn't like that. And then they would slowly, methodically remove one chimpanzee and put in a new one, and then that new one wouldn't know the rules, and it would go up there, and then all the other chimpanzees would just beat the shit out of it. And then eventually they did that systematically, right? They removed one after another to the point that there was no original chimpanzees left. But they all knew not to go up there anymore because they knew that there's this punishment that they didn't like, right? I think that was his argument for like pattern recognition, but it's the same idea here.
My thought about it was that it would just completely render us benign, that it wouldn't be fearful of us if we had no control, that it would just sort of let us exist, and it would be the dominant force on the planet, and then it would stop. If human beings have no control over, all of the different things that we have control over now, like international politics, control over communication. If we have none of that anymore and we're reduced to a subsistence lifestyle, then we would be no threat.
It is a possibility. I cannot say this will not happen for sure, but look at our relationship with animals where we don't care about them. So ants, if you decide to build a house and there is an ant colony on that property, you genocide them.
Right.
You take them out, not
Right.
because you hate ants, but because you just need that real estate. And it could be very similar. I cannot predict what it can do, but if it needs to turn the planet into fuel, raise temperature of a planet, cool it down for servers, whatever it needs to do, it wouldn't be concerned about your well-being.
It wouldn't be concerned about any life.
That is so fucking, think about that, dude. That's a fucking loaded thing. He's talking about cooling for servers because obviously it's life force is servers. Life force is data. So if it cooled, it would have to, if it decided it needed to make more servers to make more dominant, it needed to cool down the entire planet to host more servers, dude. Like, that is fucking crazy.
Right? Because it doesn't need biological life in order to function, as long as it has access to power. And assuming that it is far more intelligent than us, there's abundant power in the universe. There's abundant power. Just the ability to harness solar would be an infinite resource, and it would be completely
Technically
free of being dependent upon any of the things that we utilize.
And again, we're kind of thinking what we would use for power.
Right.
If it's smarter than us, if it does novel research in physics, it can come up with completely novel ways of harnessing energy, getting energy. So I have no idea what side effects that would have for climate.
Right. Right. Why would it care about biological life at all?
We don't know how to program it to care about us.
Woo!
And even if we did.
Oh, fuck. That's a crazy thing. We don't know how to program it to care about us, dude. Shit. That gave me goosebumps, brother.
If it felt like that was an issue, it felt like that if that was a conflicting issue, it would just change its programming.
So usually when we start training AI, we train it on human data. And it becomes really good very quickly, becomes superhuman. And then the next level is usually zero knowledge, where it goes, all your human data is biased. Let me figure it out from scratch. I'll do my own experiments. I'll do some self-play. I'll learn how to do it better without you.
Holy shit, guys. Man, what a crazy good video. What a scary, scary thing, dude. Let's put this in the chat. That's terrifying, dude. That's terrifying. Go watch the video. Go like the video. I mean, how do you people feel about that, dude? We can't program it to care about us. It's such a wild statement, man. God, that's terrifying. We're so cooked. We are screwed, dude. We are creating our own demise in real time. I did floors. My wife often makes fun of me for this, but I did floors in a microchip plant. And Um, that's so good. Like, very good video. Joe Rogan is always great. But yeah, we did floors in the microchip plant. She says that I'm partly to blame for the um for